Good morning. Okay, I just got done frosting 12 cupcakes for an almost 11-year-old. He turns 11 years old on September 29th, and he is super excited because tonight he gets to go with all of his buddies to a corn maze and all of that. And so I thought I'd just keep my apron on for this video to kind of make a point here. Today, this week in English, we're going to get a little messy. Okay, because writing is not a neat process. So you might want to get your aprons out because you might get lots of frosting. I've got tie-dyed frosting. I've got orange and copper and brown and white and green frosting all over me, and I wanted to protect my nice shirt, so I put this on. It's going to be messy this week. Writing is not a neat process, folks. And if you think that other people can get there and just write and it just comes out of them, you're wrong. It's not that easy. In fact, there's a poet who talks about only write if it can come out of you, and he's being sarcastic because it doesn't just come out. It's not an easy thing. Sometimes when you're on a rant or whatever, you might just have a moment where you feel real hot in your writing and you just go and go and go, and you will get to that point sometimes in writings for class. But it is messy because what comes out of our mind doesn't always go right to the paper the way we wanted it to. And sometimes we think it's just right, but as we look back at it later with fresh eyes for editing, and you'll know what I mean once you look at the pages in the classroom this week, we'll realize that there's really a lot of work to be done because writing is a detailed process. I just frosted these 12 cupcakes with all these different colors, and I sprinkled them with Pop Rocks and put little Sour Patch Pumpkins in the middle of them, and they turned out pretty cute. But it was a lot of work. It took a lot of time, took some patience, taken some practice, and that's what writing is too. So let's look at what's going on this week in the classroom, and I just really encourage you. I know I've talked to some of you who said, oh, I didn't get that because I just kind of went right for the gusto and did the quiz first or did the assignment first. Please take time to do all of the pages in all of the folders in all of the class in every week, okay? There's not just writing this week, there's going to be a reading folder as well. For reading, we're having you read an information text. That's something that we have the most trouble with just across the board. It's that sometimes for some of you might say, oh, I like that kind of reading. Great, you're in great shape. But when we're talking about informational text, we're talking about things like author's purpose and tone. There's not a theme, but there's going to be a main idea. There's not characters per se, but there are going to be key players. There might be a conflict that's resolved. There might be an argument that's put forth and that kind of thing. Oh, look, my almost 11-year-old just walked in my office. Okay, so here's what we're looking at this week. You're going to do the reading workshop, and you're going to practice reading and responding to informational text. Remember to use your Control-N and do your look-back strategy, and you may even want to pull up the story onto, put it onto a Word document or print it so that you can do some annotation, and that's a really key skill. In other words, you're going to write or type right onto the story or the essay as you're reading it so that you can get a better, so you can engage your brain more. Okay, so back to this writing thing that I promised you would be a little bit messy. We're going to practice writing transitions for our skills building, and then we're going to look specifically at the expectation. Some of you are just writing this week, some of you are revising. All of you will eventually revise this week. And we'd like you to take some significant time to experiment with some ways to revise, and we have a fun video to remind you why it's important to revise. Okay, so those are some things that are going on in the classroom. Please never forget to go into the discussion board and check that out for the week, and make sure you participate with that, and then copy and paste your initial post and your response post into the discussion board assignment category for the week. That's every week. And if you would also please make sure that you're checking your inbox often and make sure that you have been proctored. Those are the big things this week. So you're finishing up the folders, you're looking at all of the pages, not just skipping to the assignments. You are doing your discussion board, and you're communicating with your teachers. Those are your big three for the week. Get ready to get messy, get your writing aprons on, because you might be covered in commas and semicolons and capital letters by the time it's all done. It's messy.